Baltimore just dropped a $4.98 billion budget. Right, we are in budget season, y'all. Welcome back to I Got Time with Phylicia Porter. Last time we talked about leadership, accountability in public service. Today we are talking about our budget, the money, the moolah that we have in this city. And I already know the moment that I said budget, 3 people closed the app, and I'm okay with that. I want y'all to come back at a later date. But for the rest of y'all that stayed, that's called civic engagement. Welcome. Because here's the truth. The FY27 Baltimore City budget is $4.98 billion. That is nearly $5 billion, your tax dollars, that is being decided right now. And budgets are not just spreadsheets, Baltimore. They are priorities. They are policies. They are values in action. And this budget tells you who gets the investment, what problems get addressed, and what communities get attention, and what leadership believes most. Contrary to popular belief, I'm gonna be real with you. While some may say the budgets are about numbers, they are about people, your people, and our community. So today, I'm gonna break down exactly what is in this budget and what it means for Baltimore residents. What questions we still got to be asking, because budget season is coming up, y'all. And this is a time to contact your city council member. We're going to go down from the big picture. Let's start with the basics. The FY27 preliminary budget is $4.98 billion in total. That is a $354.9 million increase, and that's about 7.7% more than last year. And it breaks down into 2 budgets, Baltimore. We have our operating. Our operating budget is $3.9 billion. That covers the day-to-day programs, the trash pickup, the services, the staff, everything that keeps the city running. Then we got the capital budget, which is $1.06 billion. That is for physical investments like our roads, our infrastructure, the long game. Lord knows we heard about them roads, so y'all better, all 800 of y'all better pay attention. We also closed a $12 million funding gap. So everything that's happened with the federal cuts across the nation, we actually absorbed that in the city of Baltimore. So $4.98 billion. I just want to make sure y'all just have an understanding that ain't monopoly money. This budget was built under pressure, federal cuts, global uncertainty, rising costs, tariffs. And Baltimore still had to decide, what do we fund, what do we protect, and what can't we afford to let go? Our young people, we always say that young people are our future. Whitney Houston says it best. I believe the children are our future. $645 million across all funds are being devoted towards Baltimore's young people. That's $16.5 million for YouthWorks. That's 8,500 summer jobs for Baltimore youth this summer. That's $3.2 million for pre-K programs through Baltimore City Public Schools, and an additional $300,000 for the mayor's early childhood initiative to expand pre-K enrollment. That's over $45 million for recreation and parks, to include a new rec center built in Curtis Bay, and a $20 million new rec center related to our youth sports complex. 8,500 summer jobs, y'all, for our kids in Baltimore. That's not just a talking point. That is a lifeline for families. You're welcome, Baltimore. Community investment in our young people is not charity. It is a strategy, and it shows. I know Baltimore has seen some historic lows in public safety, but it is the biggest investment in this budget. $1.3 billion. $1.3 billion with a B. In funds across the city aging. But I want you to notice something. This budget treats public safety more than just policing. $4.35 million goes towards violence prevention, hospital-based intervention, school-based intervention, support for our returning citizens, and the group violence reduction strategy. That's $35 million in capital funding to replace Northeast Police Station, a facility that is long overdue. If you ain't never been there, I encourage you to go there. Not for anything crazy though, because public safety is just more than just response time. It is about what we prevent in our communities. When we invest in hospital-based interventions, school-based interventions, and returning citizens, because it turns out a press conference is not a violence prevention strategy. That's shocking, I know. And this is exactly what's represented in our budget. It's not just a number. It is a philosophy that we fund. So let's talk about what residents are actually feeling in their day-to-day life. $1.1 billion is going towards clean, green, and healthy and sustainable communities, Baltimore. That not only includes just the clean and green that we get from our amazing workers at DPW, but it means that we are sustaining our Clean Corps program. That's 6 regional teams that proactively clean neighborhoods. That was previously funded through the ARPA funds that are now gone. Baltimore kept it in anyway. That's $2.3 million for our city's homeless shelter network, plus $8 million in capital funds, with 2 more permanent shelter facilities. That's $2 million to reopen the second sexual health and wellness clinic, restoring services cut when federal and state funding dried up. That's $8.5 million for housing incentives, including the Buy Back the Block program, for protections for our legacy homeowners. That means people who stayed, who held on, who built Baltimore. This budget is saying that we see you and we are not gonna let you be priced out. Housing is community, and community is what this budget is supposed to protect. Last, we have our infrastructure, the work that nobody tweets about. We had 800 people to comment on that roads Instagram post. Let me talk about the work that doesn't trend, but that you see and feel every day. The capital budget includes $1.06 billion in infrastructure investment. Our sidewalks, our roads. Here's what that means. Over $300 million in transportation improvements, the roads resurfacing, neighborhood traffic calming projects, bridges, ADA compliance. Y'all know Baltimore gets sued? Traffic signals. Baltimore, that is $337 million in locally supported capital investment. That's more than double the annual average of the last 20 years. $12.4 million for a new emergency dispatch center to respond and strengthen our 911 operations. And y'all, the library gets something too. 54% increase from last year, y'all. That jump is huge. The library budget went up 54%. I need somebody in the comment section to acknowledge that. Y'all, I want you to tag Enoch Pratt and just let them know. Let them know how important they are. Infrastructure is not glamorous, but the potholes are personal. Roads are personal. A 911 system that works, very personal. This budget is investing in things that holds the city together when nobody's watching. So y'all, I keep coming back to this. Infrastructure is a community issue, not just a government issue. Here's something that most don't know. You really do have a seat at the table. Through your council member, through various engagement strategies from the Department of Finance, the mayor's office. And this budget was introduced on April 1st. The Board of Estimates, they held a taxpayer night. And then on April 22nd, where residents directly got to testify, the city council held its own taxpayer night hearing on May 14th. Budget hearings, agency reps will go through a very, very strenuous process. Questions from the council members to make sure that we pass a budget on July 1st. We are in that window, y'all. This is not just history. This is happening now, and your voice can still be a part of it. Community engagement is not just a checkbox in this budget process. It is foundational. It is a component. These are just the city using its own words. Neighborhoods and community associations can request engagement sessions from their council member or the mayor's office. You can just show up. You can just testify. You can ask the hard questions. You all should be able to believe in this budget to make sure that it's not just numbers on a paper. This is a conversation. This is not just sitting in the audience. This is active democracy. Budget is not just a technical document, y'all. It is a values document. And the FY27 Baltimore City budget says we are investing in our youth. We are protecting neighborhoods. We are rebuilding infrastructure. We are doing it while closing a deficit and absorbing federal cuts. Give it up for your mayor and city council, y'all. We get a lot of flack. This does not mean that every question is answered. It means the conversation is still open, and that's exactly why I am having it. The best budget is the one that residents can actually feel safer in the streets for their kids, having jobs that their kids can actually go to, opportunities, services that continue to show up, our public safety, public works, all of that. So my question for you is simple. When you look at this budget, what do you see? And if not, what do you want to change? Also, budget season. If you've ever sat through a 4-hour budget hearing voluntarily, You are truly a public servant. Your council people are sitting through budget hearings right now. Call them, email, text them, let them know what you think about this budget. Because if you believe that Baltimore has everything that it needs, we done our job. We clearly have not had that. We need you all to stay focused and communicate with us, your city council member, your mayor, through engagement strategies. We want to make sure that this budget works for you, Baltimore. This is I Got Time with Phylicia Porter. Thank y'all so much. I know this may have seemed like a lot today, but it's something that we got to get through, y'all. And hopefully, we'll just make sure that every person in Baltimore not only understands the budget, but they know where their tax dollars are going so we can hold electeds accountable and we can hold each other in community accountable.